You're never accidentally brilliant. If you ask a person in the gym, how'd you get so many muscles? His answer is never oops.
Yeah. Elon, how'd you get so rich and run so many businesses? Oops.
How did you put rockets in space? Oh, I don't know. Oops.
No.
It's never an accident.
High intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution.
You now have a fair playing field. It's extremely important that you use it. Next. If you don't solve today's problems, you will not earn the blessings of tomorrow's problems. Now, this is something that you're sitting here thinking, well, I don't want problems tomorrow. Let me explain to you as a man, problems never go away. You think if I just get this much money, my problems will be gone.
No.
If I just get my girlfriend to stop arguing with me, my problems will be gone.
No.
If I just fix this one issue, my problems will be gone.
No.
If Trump wins, my problems will be gone.
No.
It doesn't work that way. Life is a never-ending series of tests and battles. It is a long, if you are lucky, 80-year war, and there is battle to win every single day. If you manage to reach a stage of prosperity in which there is peace and serenity surrounding you, the best thing you can do is prepare for the future battle, because you can be certain, as sure as you are that the sun will rise, that a battle will come. In fact, my brother and I enjoyed one of these periods of peace and serenity just before our arrest. Do you remember sitting around the mansion in Dubai with our Bugatti, filming all that footage, saying how good life is with all those pretty girls and Bugattis and that big $100 million mansion? And I was doing podcasts saying that you only get 3 lives and they're going to put us in jail. Yep. And we started preparing to hide and shield our finances because we knew they're going to try and bankrupt us. And what happened?
Who said that? If you wish to live in peace, prepare for war. Who said that? That's a very famous quote. I think it's ancient Greek or Roman. Check who said that, Yusuf. And what he meant by that, when he said, if you wish to live in peace, prepare for war, what he meant was, if you want to be the Roman Empire and live in a peaceful society, you need to have armies and forts and siege engines everywhere so people leave you the fuck alone. You have to be prepared to fight. I don't think Churchill said that. I think it's older than Churchill. I think it is. Anyway, it's a very true quote. And me and Andrew are always preparing for war.
Tomorrow's problems are guaranteed. But if you do not fix today's problems, you do not earn tomorrow's problems. Let me give you, guys, a quick example of a problem that I'm currently being forced to endure. There's a very large property purchase that I want to make inside of Japan.
Cicero.
I understand that Japan has an aging population and is currently going through a real estate crash. And I believe that in the long to medium term, that it will recover. I also like the idea of perhaps living in Tokyo one day. So I want to buy a Japanese property. I now have the problem of organizing a Japanese entity, a Japanese lawyer, a Japanese accountant, moving funds, and getting this Japanese property procured. If I did not deal with yesterday's problems or today's problems, I would not have the money to deal with tomorrow's problems, which is buying my Japanese penthouse. It is a problem. Every day is a problem. I have the problem of a beautiful woman who complains about dumb shit. Now, I get to enjoy that problem. Lucky me, because I'm the man that she wants. If I didn't go through yesterday's problems of winning fights and getting rich and becoming important, I would not have the problems today of arguing with her. That is how life works as a man. There is no way out of it. So unless you solve today's problems, you do not get tomorrow's problems, because problems in and of themselves are a blessing. There is nothing worse than living in the eternal still, the ether of insignificance, where you have no problems. Nothing is really wrong. Nothing is really right. The bus always turns up. You always get to go to Starbucks. Your wages always turn up after you make the coffees. You go home. Perhaps you do not have the big problems of jail. Perhaps you don't have the big problems of a Japanese penthouse. You don't have the problems, but you also do not have any innate chance. You don't have any tangible excitement in your life. Nothing is going to change. It is stagnation, which is destructive for the male soul. It's perhaps the most destructive thing. You need problems today so you're blessed with problems tomorrow, because if you change the way you look at a problem, it is always a blessing. I don't have to find a Japanese lawyer and start a Japanese company to buy a Japanese penthouse. I get. It's not have to. I get to. I get to find a Japanese lawyer. And I get to find a Japanese accountant. And I get to buy a Japanese penthouse. I don't have to deal with those complaining women. I get to deal with beautiful women that men adore, that men blow up their inboxes all day, every day, begging for a chance to talk to them.
Men would pay thousands for what I get for free.
And we know that as a fact.
Yeah, we know that.
So you must change your attitude towards problems and see them as a blessing. But if you do not get to enjoy today's problems and solve them, you're going to have no problems tomorrow. And I guarantee you that life you dream of with no problems doesn't exist, because if you ever do find that life, it is torturous. You know where you have very few problems? In a jail cell.
Jail, yeah.
Food turns up.
Yeah.
Bed's there.
Yeah.
Bills paid.
Yeah.
TV's on.
Don't need money.
No problems.
No problems.
You don't want that life. You want to not live in a zoo. There's a reason why animals die when they live in a zoo, because they have no problems. The food turns up, no predators, no enemies. They don't have to run away from the deforestation or the poachers. They just sit, lay around, wait to be fed, but they don't live as long as they do in the wild, because it is the problems that keep their soul alive. It is the problems, the fact they must hunt, the fact they must avoid their predators and enemies, the fact they have to avoid being poached. They have to change territory when the new alpha male moves in. They have to find somebody to mate with. They're not given somebody to mate with like they are in the zoo. They have to find something to mate with. That is what keeps the masculine spirit alive. That is what's so important. So you must enjoy today's problems. And problems you have today is that the meritocracy is going to come and highlight. It's going to highlight your lack of capabilities and highlight your insignificance. Guys, being a broke nobody during the liberal times is very different than being a broke nobody in the upcoming times. Because a whole bunch of people are going to start making a whole bunch of fucking money. Crypto's going to moon. Daddy's going to moon. Everyone on your street's going to have a Lambo. Are you going to be the only jackass without one? Nobody had one. It was fine. Now everyone has one but you. Do you understand that this fair battlefield are going to allow anybody with an ounce of testosterone to endlessly win? The competition is on. The pressure is on you higher than and harder than ever before. This is extremely important. So the problems you have today, be thankful for them. Work hard against them and solve them so you can enjoy problems tomorrow.
You know, I've got another historical quote that your speech reminded me of. When Napoleon was defeated and exiled to the island of Elba, and he was asked about it, this was before his final defeat, he said, "Yes, glory is fleeting, but obscurity is forever." And that's so completely true. The struggles of being a man at the top and having to fight all the battles of being a man at the top, yeah, it's difficult, it's hard, life kicks you down sometimes, but obscurity is forever. A lot of you listening, and a lot of people who you know will live their entire life, and a year after they died, you won't be able to find anything about them on fucking Google search. Nothing.
Next. As a man, you must earn your friends. The harder you work, the more important you become. The more important you are, the more important your friends will be. And important friends improve your life exponentially. They massively improve your life, important friends.
It's true.
Look how important the alliance between Trump and Elon has been. Mm-hmm. Why did that friendship take place? How did that friendship come to fruition? Because one of them was the best president in history, and the other one is perhaps the greatest inventor or modern day innovator that we can name anywhere on the planet. Mm-hmm. The better you become as a man, the better and more important your friends become. And it becomes a whirlwind, an upward spiral towards the top. It is very easy to win once you start winning. It is like a fire. It is hard to start, but when it is raging and half of the house is engulfed, it doesn't matter if the other half of the house is filled with non-flammable materials. It doesn't matter if there's water everywhere and it's raining and the tap is running. It doesn't matter. Once the house is half on fire, it's all gonna burn.
Yeah, I could give you, anyone listening to this, if I gave you my phone with the contacts I have in my phone, and I said, here you go, this is yours to use, everyone who you call, everyone whose number is in this phone, will happily pick up the phone and deal with you as though you were me. You'd be a millionaire within a week. 1 week. That is it.
That's all it takes, is to know a few important people. But important people have something extremely limited, which is time. And unless you have value to give them, they're not going to talk to you. Life is a value exchange. You have to offer value to people for them to even talk to you. It's the same with everything. Your girlfriend gets value from you and you get value from her. That's why you're together. The second that ends, the second that stops, the relationship will end. It's the same with friendship. It's the same with networking. It's the same with business contacts. It's the same with everything. The best thing about becoming more important yourself is not only all of the trappings from your own successes, but it is the access to other important people. It is amplified via your network by knowing other important men. This is extremely important and it is under discussed. People say, I'd love to understand networking. Andrew, I'd love to just come talk to you for an hour. You could talk to me for an hour if you're Elon Musk. You can talk to me for an hour if you've achieved things. You could talk to me for an hour if you're inside the real world and your power level is high enough. You could talk to me for an hour if you're inside the war room. You cannot talk to me if you're a fucking nobody. So by improving yourself, not only do you get the benefits and trappings of your self-improvement, you also get the benefits of getting the capability to speak to people who are perhaps above you or at least at the same level of you in this game of life. This is extremely important, and I want you to understand across these next 4 years with this fair battlefield, you're not just improving yourself for your community. You're not just improving yourself for your bloodline and for your family. You're improving yourself so you can also get access to other people who've improved themselves. It is an upward spiral to infinity. And once the house is half on fire, it's all gonna burn. I promise you, once you start winning, it is so easy to keep winning, it's almost impossible to lose. Let me give you a quick example. Very quick one, and I'm gonna make it applicable to what we discussed earlier. Most of you don't have enough money to invest heavily into crypto right now. My brother and I can pull $100 million out of our ass, and we can buy any coin, and we know that we'll have $120 million in a few short months. We know that 20 million is enough for most people. For us, it's a year's money because we spend it a year on nothing. Most people can live forever on 20 million. That's how easy it is for us to win. For you to make 20 million, you have to think of all these grand schemes. You have so much work to do, so much ground to cross, so many mountains to climb. You have to traverse universes. For my brother and I to make 20 million, we have to fucking breathe and wait. It is that easy. Once you start winning, it is so ridiculously easy to keep winning. This is why the rich get richer. This is why the poor get poorer. It is important that you manage to bridge the great schism in this fair playing field and get into the winning side, because now the playing field is fair. It's going to accelerate how quickly and how much you start to win. You can start to win on a Monday and you can be one of life's winners by Sunday. It can happen that quickly. You can go from a nobody to a millionaire in 7 short days in the upcoming years if you're prepared to do the work. Extremely important. Talked about value exchange. Let's look at modern dating for all you gentlemen at home. This is modern dating. Girls don't have jobs anymore. Pretty girls don't work.
Yeah.
If you go to Miami,
social media killed it.
Social media's killed it. You go to Miami, you go to Dubai, there's not a single pretty girl with a job. They live off their boyfriends. That's it. That's all they do.
And there's a lot more pretty girls than there are rich men.
And the rich men have enough money to support 20 of these girls.
Yeah.
So they get 20 each. And the women are just going to sit there and let them have 20 girls because they need their bills paid. There is no way out of this brutal reality. The women that you're seeing, that you desire, that you want, the women that you're looking at every time you scroll and you get caught doom scrolling on Instagram, you can't be with them because you can't give them what they want in the value exchange, and what they want is money. We can have
an easy life.
They want an easy life. We can have a conversation about whether this makes all women on the planet effectively sex workers. We can have a conversation about whether this is fair. We can have a conversation about whether love is true. We can have a conversation about whether they are born with value and they manage to extract it from men without much effort. We can talk about all those things, but those are beside the point. That this is the brutal reality.
Yeah, the rules of the game.
This is the rules of the game. This isn't going to change anytime soon.
Shout out Marcel Mullings.
Watch his show, Rules of the Game. Marcel Mullings, a great show. But that is exactly how it now currently works. I remember being younger, being able to say to a girl, I can't afford that. You can't say that to women nowadays.
Because they have social media, and every girl who's hot has endless interest from men of high value.
They won't understand you can't afford it. The value exchange has changed. They expect you to be rich. So if you want to be a full-grown man with a hot Barbie girlfriend, you need to get rich. This is the reality of the world now. We can have a long conversation about whether girls are gold diggers or not, but it's not going to change anything. You look at the chessboard, and perhaps the situation seems unfair, but it's still a chess game. The pawn only moves in a certain way, the queen only sucks for a certain reason, and you're the king trapped in the corner with no fucking money while your enemy rooks and bishops pin you down. There is nothing you can do about it besides find the only move that allows you to win. This is the game we now live in, gentlemen. And 2024 is going to be more important than ever before as the culture shifts, because women follow culture. As the culture shifts towards wokeism, towards sensibility and sanities, they're going to be looking for masculine men. Women are going to understand that all that woke liberal bullshit's out the window. They're going to be looking for real men, and they expect real men to be competent, brave, strong, funny, smart, interesting, charismatic, rich. That's what women are going to expect more than ever before. You think Trump winning is going to make it easier for you to get a girlfriend only if you're a winner? It's going to make it harder if you're a loser. It was hard during liberalism as a loser. But during liberalism, perhaps you could find one of those girls who was psyoped enough and you could sit there and say, I'm broke, but it's okay because I believe in communism. Let's smoke some weed together and perhaps get your dick wet. Not anymore. They all expect you to be a strong, masculine, competent winner. This is why I'm telling you, the battle hasn't ended. The battle has actually just begun. All of the work that you need to do is now more achievable than ever before, but the battle has just begun. And I've been telling you guys before Trump won, I've been telling you to prepare. I've been warning you to increase your power level inside of the real world. I've been telling you need to get money as soon as possible. I've been telling you to invest inside of Daddy and prepare for the real world token. I've been warning you because second chances like the one we're enjoying right now must be prepared for. Those of you which have been stacking money get to take advantage of this monumental bull run we're all going to enjoy. Those of you who have not been making money, who have not been dedicating yourselves, who have not been trying, are going to have to sit and endure from the sidelines like a...
You know what's quite interesting about America? I've always found this interesting, is that American wealth is quite centralized. Like, I grew up in England. I'm born in America. I grew up in England. If you get rich in England, you consider a house in Spain, or you consider a house in Dubai, or you consider a house in Italy. If you get rich in America, you consider a house in California or Miami. It's all kind of there. Yeah. Most people don't consider other places. They consider another state.
Absolutely.
That's how America kind of is. I think once large swaths of the American population, especially the wealth, start to think, you know what, we might need something somewhere else. That there's going to be a huge brain drain and wealth drain. And you highlighted earlier how much debt they're in. I mean, they can't afford these kind of things. They can't afford all of the money to start saying, you know what, we don't feel safe here anymore. And
you got all the wealthy in the country now building bunkers.
I mean, I have to respect the patriotism of Americans. I mean, they want to fight it out to the end, and I respect that absolutely. But there's going to be a large group of people, and the reason I'm saying this is because of England. I think England last year lost 7 or 8% of its millionaires. Everyone left. Everyone went to Dubai, Italy, Spain. Anyone with money looked around at the crime and just thought, I'm out. Once that starts happening, you have real problems, because then the country gets poorer, and then the poor get poorer, and then they want more from the government. So the person who wins is the person who promises them even more. That took about further down the rabbit hole to socialism, further down the rabbit hole to forever country debt, further down the rabbit hole to needing the government to survive. And this is what happens. America was built on individual exceptionalism and rich people paying taxes and building these big companies and all this brilliance. And it's just collapsing in real time with envy and pettiness and hatred. Man, it's sad to see. It's sad to see because, I mean, you say you're 73, I'm 37. The other way around. I'll be alive to watch all this stuff.
Yes.
And the world is speeding up. What used to take 100 years now takes 10.
Quick, right.
I mean, I really think in 50 years, America is going to be a completely different place. And how it looks, I think it depends on this election, and it's kind of scary. And I feel like, I guess one of the reasons I'm anxious, I've done this, Michael. I've looked at a globe. Okay, where do I go? You end up looking at Iceland and Svalbard and these tiny little islands. I mean, what does anyone really want? You want your family safe. You want to be treated fairly under the law.
Yes.
You want to be left alone. Isn't it remarkable that that's so hard to find?
Take the sanity out my mind and take the money. But I do believe at a certain point of money, I mean, I'm not going to brag, but there's nothing left for me to buy. There's nothing I want I don't have. So I don't really care about money. What I do care about is I feel good inside when I know I'm telling the truth. I feel good inside when I say what I mean. I feel good inside when I wake up and don't feel controlled, when nobody texts my phone and says, you can't say that. I feel good inside when I feel like I'm helping people. That's worth more to me than money. So I never sold out. And if I had, I don't think any of this would happen. I think this is punishment.
What about the girls' feelings?
And this is the thing that's so amazing to me. So the people who are in charge of the world, the Matrix, and people who are in charge of these countries, they do that. They have no genuine concern for protecting women, which goes back to my earlier question. Do we want sanity or insanity? Which is what's scary when you genuinely analyze and say, none of this makes sense. We need to change it. Yeah, that's a very optimistic worldview. It's fantastic to view the world and look at a broken system and say, let's fix the system. It's far more daunting once you understand that the system's broken on purpose. It's designed to be broken. They want to convince the world that I am dangerous to women. Me, a man with daughters, with a large sexual history, with no women with a face even coming forward and complaining, with every woman I know who's ever interacted with me defending me. But then, like you said, they'll take a man and put him in a woman's prison. So do they really care about female safety in any regard? No. They're trying to sow a degree of insanity and subjectiveness into a system which is designed to be bulletproof. The whole point of the legal system and the justice system is that it's black and white, on paper, it's not up to interpretation. The good guys go home, the bad guys go to jail. Right? As soon as you ingest subjectiveness and insanity and chaos into that system, well, now you've got a real mess. I don't think many people at home realize, and I'm going to try and explain it as simply as possible, that once you get to a certain level of fame and wealth, the people who are in charge of the world want to also be in charge of you. Because once they're in charge of you, they can allow you to exist because you'll push their narratives. And for you to join their team, you have to sell your sanity. You have sanity inside of your mind. You're a sane person. You're a hardworking person. But you have to take that sanity out and sell it. They'll usually give you a large contract for X amount of million for whatever TV station or whatever company or whatever product. You have to take the sanity out of your brain, give them the sanity, and then you'll take the 20 million. Yeah, the worst thing about prison, I think, for everybody else, because there was a lot of men in there who were crying, a lot of men who were having mental breakdowns. I think it is the problem I didn't have, which is knowing that if you're a normal man, you go to jail and they just pick you up and you go to jail. Who pays the rent? Who's feeding your kids? Who's your wife sleeping with? Life gets hard for all the external things you can no longer control, things that were your responsibility. I was lucky I didn't have those problems. And when I spoke to people, most people's issues were things that were happening on the outside. And I felt really good knowing that my life is set up in a way where even if I'm plucked from it, it operates. And I set that up because I thought they were going to kill me. Even to this day, if they shoot me right now, everyone around me, everything would be okay. I don't have to exist for my life to function. So that was fantastic about jail. The worst thing about jail, I mean, the cockroaches started off really bad, but after a few days, it's amazing how quickly you get used to cockroaches just in your bed. You're just like, oh, fuck, just kick them out the way. That was kind of bad. But not knowing when I'm going to get out, that was bad. Having my name slandered all around the world, that was bad. Not knowing how people are reacting to it. Like my first month in jail, I didn't know if people believed this garbage or not. I had no access to the internet. I didn't see anything. There was a lot about it that was hard. But I have to believe it's going to make me a better person. Why else did I go? What did I go for? To waste 3 months? To stare at a wall for 3 months? Is that why I went to jail? No, I must have gone to jail to become a better person. I must have learned something. I have to self-analyze and find the lessons and pick it out. And I think a lot of people don't do that with all the bad situations in their life. And regardless of whether you went to jail or a woman left you or your business failed, whatever it is, you need to analyze the entire situation and say, okay, what can I learn? There's a big pile of shit here, but there must be a little bit of gold inside. So I've just tried to look at it as a massive learning experience, and perhaps that's a coping mechanism, but I've found a lot of lessons which I'm implementing, and there's a very strong chance they're going to put me back. Not because I'm guilty, because I haven't done anything wrong, but because I'm currently in the middle of a judicial system. I'm in the judicial system of a country. I don't truly understand the language. I don't understand the judicial system. I don't understand the charges against me. I don't understand how any of this can be legal. I don't understand where it's come from. I don't understand the evidence they believe they have. And here I am stuck in this process, and who knows how it's going to end. Yeah, it was a very interesting movie, and I think that it draws striking similarities between the world we live in today and the world that is portrayed inside of the film. I think there are many people who ignore their own eyes and ignore their own ears to believe what they are told to believe, And that is what I call the Matrix. And I think the last few years has proven that more than anything. When people are running around pretending to be scared of something when they've never seen with their own eyes any single damage from the whole fucking... women can't fight. Men are stronger. Like, base... more true things. I think another thing I said, and maybe I'll upset the ladies on the podcast. I hope not, but please correct me if I'm wrong.
Probably will.
I said if I were to get on a plane and that plane was to fly into the eye of a hurricane, there was a 50% chance of it crashing, I'd want a male pilot because I think that males are better under stress and under pressure. I think they're less likely to get emotional in a life or death situation. That's why they make better soldiers. That doesn't mean that doesn't make me misogynist. That doesn't make me sexist. That's just true. Women are better at other things than men. And I'll sit here and say women are better at X, but I will say that men are better at Y. I'm not going to sit and pretend that we're all the same. We're not. Under pressure, when your life is on the line, anyone who's honest would want a male pilot in said situation. You would not want a female pilot. Correct. Because countries aren't real. Countries aren't even real anymore. The whole idea of a nation state has fallen. The whole idea of being American is a false paradigm. The whole idea of being Canadian's false. It's fake.
Yeah.
Well, I would choose a man because I know from my own personal experiences that when shit hits the fan and emotions are high and it's life or death, that the man is more likely to remain calm. And calm is what's going to keep me alive. So I would choose the man. For the same reason, I would choose women to do other things. Let me give you another example then, Dave, if gender roles aren't real.
Absolutely. So once again, let's understand the mechanics here, gentlemen. If you appreciate this chance, you will use it. A fair shot is the best you're ever going to get as a man. You hope for a calm sea so that you can use muscles, rowing power, and through sheer exhaustion, you can outcompete the waves of the ocean itself. If you do not appreciate this chance, you will waste it, meaning you do not deserve it, and it will be snatched from you because you will not have the masculine agency or capability to preserve the good times against the zombie horde. The zombie horde has not learned its lesson, has not changed. The mind virus is going nowhere. These feminists are sitting around popping Adderall, trying to find a way to get back on television and convince the youth of the world today to vote in favor of insane fucking policies as long as they get their abortions. They are regrouping. Your enemy is preparing and rearming. They are reloading their weapons. Mocking them from afar may be entertaining, but it is not what's going to be important in 4 to 6 years from now. What is going to be important is that our students, our audience, people who understand the right side of history, have used these chances to become as powerful as ever before, because you are going to need that power. If you do not appreciate what you have, you do not deserve it, and the universe will snatch it from you.
There's a question.
You do not deserve that which you do not appreciate. If you appreciate this level battlefield, this fair game, in which you can make as much money as possible without being held back, without reins and constraints, it's easy mode. You know, when you're the best of the best, you have to perform on your worst day. If you're a sprinter or a professional fighter and you're due to have a race or a fight on the 15th of July, 2025, and the day rolls around and you have a cold, you're not allowed to lose because you have a cold, because nobody cares. They're not going to say he lost because they have a cold. They're going to say he lost. You have to be better than your enemy on your worst day, and they may be having their best day. This is the reality of life as a man. Now, you do not deserve what you don't appreciate. You need to appreciate this level battlefield, because the level battlefield is actually easy mode. You're never going to have an easier mode than a fair game as a full-grown man. Fair game's the best you can possibly hope for, because you're not a woman. You do not have pretty privilege. The universe does not want to give you things. Nobody feels sorry for you. Nobody cares about you. The best you can hope for is a fair shot. And a fair shot to me is easy mode, because I am the guy who's been out competing his opponents with a cold. I've been the guy who's been winning on hard mode. I've been the guy who stayed relevant and stayed rich in the face of the largest Matrix attack any influencer has been faced to endure.
Yeah.
I've been to jail. They took my banks. They locked me in Romania. They told me to shut up. They rearrested me 3 times. They threatened me. They locked up my women. They locked up the people I care about. Here I am. I win when I'm outgunned, outnumbered. I win when the game is rigged against me. I'm the kind of guy you drop off in the middle of Antarctica, naked in the snow, expecting him to freeze to death. And then you come home to your little girlfriend and find her in bed with me. That's how I am, who I am. Nobody knows how I got off Antarctica. Nobody knows how I got your bitch. I just did it. You see some light in the dark and some dark in the light, because there's no such thing as 100% dark or light. The Matrix is at competition with this. Trump is 100% bad. It doesn't matter if he makes your groceries go down. Doesn't matter if he makes you safer. Doesn't matter if he makes you richer. Doesn't matter if he secures the border. It doesn't matter what he does. He is 100% bad, and he cannot be reasoned with. For this idea to stick, the idea of 100% bad, they cannot allow people to talk about the good things he does, which is why censorship is so important to the Matrix. It's why they are always on team censorship. It's why they always advocate for disinformation, misinformation. It's why they always try to delete people. It's why they always try to cancel people who talk the truth or who say something which is unpopular. And it is basically a popularity contest. People who are on Team Matrix are in a constant contest to see who can believe the Matrix the most. It is a competition. Remember this, because it's going to explain things later on. These two things are at competition with each other. The truth of the world, which is subjectivity, and the black and white version of the world, which is the Matrix. The Matrix needs to rely on censorship. So to do this, it needs to control information sources. You cannot censor everybody. You cannot censor every single person on Twitter because people are individuals. So instead, what you want to do is shut Twitter down and only have 4 or 5 newspapers that you control. And then you can control the outflow of information. Censorship requires, to a degree, it requires the bundling and the monopolization of information sources. That is the only way you can censor anything, which is why the Matrix believes in mainstream media. It's why the mainstream media even exists. The mainstream media exists purely to propagate the Matrix's existence. Nobody buys it. So, we have the MSM. This works hand in hand with the Matrix. The MSM is the propaganda arm of the Matrix, which is used to purport the narratives they want you to believe. If it wasn't for the MSM, how could they convince you Putin is bad? Putin has never hurt you. Russia has never hurt you. No Russian soldiers ever come to your house. No Russian man's ever shot you. They've never taken anything from you. Why do you even distrust Russian people? Why are they any less trustworthy than Romanians or French or people from the United Arab Emirates or Indonesians? Because the mainstream media and Hollywood, via James Bond, etc., have convinced you that the Russians are evil people. Hollywood and the mainstream media are effectively propaganda arms or information centers for world governments. And anybody who believes in the mainstream media's objectivity is not thinking logically, because if you understand that the Matrix has various arms to exert control, one of them being the military-industrial complex, the Matrix uses bombs and guns to kill people. Why would it allow the mainstream media to talk against the objectives it's trying to complete with its bombs? If I am the Matrix, why would I use my left arm to stop my right arm achieving what it wants to achieve? Why would I use one arm against the other? You wouldn't. You use both arms in tandem. So the Matrix also uses pure violence and force. And to convince people to accept this violence and force, they use the MSM machine, which is a propaganda arm, nothing more. So we have here violence. Remember, only the Matrix can use violence. The government can shoot people, and the government can kill people. You're not allowed. Only they are. For you to accept them using violence, they have to convince you via the MSM. So before they decide to kill people wherever they are, Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Libya, Russia, you name it, they use the MSM to convince you these people deserve to die. That's why they use the MSM to purport their ideals, and then they use violence to deliver the kill blow if the MSM can't do it alone. So the mainstream media has no interest in objectivity. It has no interest in being fair ever. It has no interest in telling the truth ever. The mainstream media's objective is to make you believe what the Matrix needs you to believe. And the Matrix's primary objective is to consolidate power. If they need power to push their narratives and objectives, we just explained how they cannot control 1 million people telling the truth. They need to have a few newspapers, which they do control. If consolidation of power equals a more powerful Matrix, then the Matrix's primary objective in all realms is only going to be to endlessly consolidate power. Let me give you a simple example of this. what do the rich always try and do? Get richer. Because if you're the kind of person who's smart enough to get rich, you understand how important it is to become richer. Whatever it took for you to become rich is the same qualities you're going to use to become richer. So the Matrix, whenever it has control, it will use its control to try and get more control. It doesn't know how to do anything else. Just like a rich person will invest their money to get more money. Rich get richer, the Matrix gets more authoritarian. The goal of the Matrix is to take more and more power away from the people so that it has more and more control over narratives via the approved propaganda arms so that it can use its violence openly. Now, the current and recent election was simply between people who believed in the Matrix and people who were against the Matrix. The people who believed in the Matrix wanted Kamala, and the people who wanted the Matrix to be dismantled wanted Trump. So you may ask yourself, why does the common person believe anything the Matrix says when their own eyes and their own personal experience will tell them they've been lied to?
So God gives you these chances to suffer so you can level up your character. But I'll often tell you, most of you people at home which are complaining that your life is difficult, I'll actually argue that most of your lives are too easy. Even though that God gives you these chances to level up and God gives you these difficulties, most of you, 99% of you, need to adopt more difficulty yourselves.
I mean,
you need to wake up and find more struggle yourself if you truly want to be a fierce competitor.
You got to find pain.
You had $115,000 up until 7 years ago. You told me that story, I'd have no sympathy. Oh, I had $150,000. I lost it. I was like, bro, I get mad if I lost a 20-pound note around the house. I'd be lifting up couch cushions and everything. Ooh, those were the good old days, Andrew. Those are the good old days.
Absolutely. And this is where, again, it goes back to leveling up your character and your network and who you are as a man. You had that money in the bank. Your bills were obviously paid. Did you at least use that time to become fearsome? Did you at least use that time to become the kind of man who can wear a normal-ass T-shirt but still look like Hercules? Because if you didn't, then you wasted the money anyway. That's exactly that's the kind of thing you should have been doing as bare minimum standard. That's bare minimum.
Because now you're fat and out of shape and you're broke.
Yep. And I would argue you have an opportunity to be very, very, very happy. I was just as happy when I was broke because I felt happy climbing and trying to get somewhere. I had this vision of where I wanted to go. That shit should be fun to you. If you can't get excited about the man you're going to become, you're in deep, deep shit.
That's the best motivation in the world.
Yeah.
And there's a sense of contentment that comes from doing the things you're supposed to do. It doesn't even, people say it's the journey, not the destination. That's true. But I wake up and if I have a day where I've worked as hard as I can, I've trained and done all the training I'm supposed to do, I've spoken to all the people I'm supposed to speak to, I've eaten right, I've done everything right, I feel happy just from doing the right things. You do the right things over and over again, you're going to end up in the right place. It's all building blocks. You should feel good from just doing the right things regardless, and you'll end up there on accident. Life is actually very easy to succeed in. And I get all the questions we've been asked so far today, and all the questions we get asked in general are basically different versions of the same question. How do I achieve X? And the answer is always going to be hard work. It's always going to be the sentence and the saying I use over and over again that people think is a joke. Unmatched perspicacity and sheer indefatigability. The ability to pay attention, notice things, and never quit. That's all it is. Pay attention, notice things, and never give up. And if you do that, you're going to succeed. It is so easy to be successful in life. When I meet a person who's not successful, I have to analyze, why did this guy decide to quit? What was more interesting to him than being the man he could have been? Was it food? Was it that one chick who broke his heart and just ran him around for years? What was it that distracted him from his life purpose of being something that mattered?
Weed, porn,
garbage. And then in the end, you only end up sad. All these temporary happinesses, they don't last long. You can have temporary happiness for what? A day? A week? You can eat cake. It'll make you happy for 5 minutes. If that. You can't delay gratification to have genuine happiness. All genuine happiness has to be delayed. It has to be, you have to go through the pain first.
What you're supposed to do, you're supposed to get yourself around people that know a bit more than you and then dig into it so you can become better. And that's why, case in point, why to join the War Room.
Yep.
I had not traveled outside the United States very much before the War Room.
Yeah.
I did 15 countries just last year. I have stories from all over the world that I would not have had otherwise if it weren't for the War Room and the group of leveling me up, giving me more consciousness. And that's why you need to be working on your battle on the way up, but looking for more consciousness all the time. And you got to get around people like the people in the War Room to find out what that consciousness might be, so you can have the next thing to work on.
And I like that about you. It's about knowing yourself. And I know what I don't know, and I think that's a very important skill as a man. But when it comes to geography and world travels, I'll say things like, oh, I was in Istanbul, and you'll be like, Where on a map is Istanbul?
Yeah.
And you'll make
But I'll
get
go
out a
look
map
it up.
and show you.
Yeah.
You know, it's good to know what you don't know. And there's not a single friend that I have, whether it be you, Tig, Alex, Bailey. There's not a single friend I have that doesn't know things that I don't.
Right.
Because otherwise, why do you have a friend? I mean, this is a conversation specific to a female, but I remember there was a woman I was dating a few years ago, and she said to me once, she said, Tristan, I like you loads. I really like hanging around with you because we have very interesting conversations. And I said to her, I said, no, we don't have very interesting conversations. I just tell you stuff. It might be interesting to you.
But you know why she likes you because of that? Because she
Of
feels
course.
like she's growing.
And she was a very nice girl.
And she feels like she's growing when
But
she's around you.
would I hang around with a man who doesn't know anything and can't tell me anything new?
Would she listen to the same conversation from some nerd? No. So it's not even just about what you say, it's who you are as a man. And that's the same with absolutely everything. It's the same with everything. The reason we all respect each other's opinions on so much is because we respect each other at a base level. So if you're not going to be the kind of man who's respectable on a base level, you have to decide to go through life with no opinion. This is what is monumentally mind-blowing to me when people say I lack motivation. How can you lack motivation to exist? If you don't have an opinion that anyone cares about, and if women don't want to sleep with you, and you're basically invisible, and you can't find any friends worth having, why do you even wake up? How can you lack motivation to be a person that even matters on the planet? You'd rather just be a fucking ghost, a nobody?
Yeah.
Because what, the gym is hard? Isn't it harder to be a nobody your entire life than train a little bit?
Yep.
It blows my mind.
Well, I hit Tig up the other day. Even Tig, we were walking, and there was a news report with a Russian accent, with a Russian flag, asking us things for the Russian news. I said, Tig, they're going to come at me again next time I go to court. What do I say? Vpravda vidit naruzhu. Everything will be revealed in time. So, like, I'll be like, yo, Tig, how do I say this in Russian? And he kind of saved our life one time in Russia. I'm not even going to say exactly what happened, but let's just say he almost saved our life. Yeah, that was in Ukraine. And because everyone speaks Russian in Odessa, certainly. Yep. And he saved us from a setup. Yep. And we were there to make sure that the setup didn't happen. And we were 5 moves ahead just because Tig had his ears open. And knowing Russian isn't enough, by the way. He could have been.
First of all, none of you motherfuckers have any excuses not to be leveling up right now. You have 3 top tier 0.001% men here saying every day they work hard, every day they're trying to learn, every day they're trying to get better. So what is your fucking excuse? You have none. So because of that, everyone listening right now, you can multitask, 50 push-ups, go.
Absolutely. For fuck's sake.
Tag me in the videos, by the way. Tag me on the videos on Twitter of you doing 50 push-ups.
Yeah, we'd like to see that. You know what's actually kind of crazy? When the MSM attacked me, they said that inside of Hustlers University, we have a fitness campus and we teach people how to be stronger and we encourage people to do push-ups, etc. I was actually attacked for that, which shows the Matrix itself is so desperate for men to be weak and stupid that even if you teach people to just train and work hard, they don't like that. They think that's somehow misogynistic and evil. Because that's how weak they want you to be.
Because women should train and be in shape too.
Everybody should. It's not even a gendered argument, but they want you to be weak because it's impossible to build your body without building your mind, and they want you to have a weak mind so that you can be programmed into slavery. I don't know if you train every day. If you're 21, you're training every day. Why haven't you made money fighting yet? How hard do you train? I don't like... You can talk to me about this. I think there's a huge difference between training and exercise. Let's talk about the difference between training and exercise, because they are very different things. I'll let you go.
You hit a bag. Congratulations, you did a workout. Okay, Are you actually training? Are you actually in between that, studying the craft to actually compete and get better and be able to pull this out when someone's trying to attack you? Probably not. And on top of that, believe me, there's so many things you need to learn and you have no time. So you should be doing so much. I train, okay, maybe once a day. How many more times can you train during the day? How many more hills can you run? How many more push-ups can you do? All that shit is free. Don't give me any excuse.
Yeah, of course. And have you set a deadline? Have you said in 3 months' time, I'm going to meet this guy in the ring and fight him? Because that's, without the deadline, then there's no incentive for you to truly push yourself beyond your limits. You need a deadline. You need to find a place where you put it all on the line. What was I saying earlier about men who were respected at some point did something dangerous? If it was guaranteed for you to win, then fighting wouldn't be respected. The reason it's respected is because you take the risk of losing. That's the whole point. But that's how it works with everything in life. If it's guaranteed to pull off, nobody's interested. You have to take that risk in the first place. That's the only way you get respect. Respect lies on the other side of fear. So if you're 21, you're saying you live alone, you pay the rent, blah, 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 but I train every day, I think that your friends as a man especially should be at least inspiring bravery in you. You should at least, when I'm with my guys, I feel brave. It doesn't mean I'm reckless. It doesn't mean I'm stupid, but I certainly feel brave because I know how competent they are and I know they have my back. So it's hard for my friends to peer pressure me into an act which is guided by cowardice. Like, taking an injection, for example. That's cowardice. It's very hard for them to make me do something cowardly, but it's very easy for them to make me do something brave. Like say, fuck it, you're strong as an ox. Do some push-ups.
Yep.
So you have to be very careful with the friends you have around you. If your friends are going to be so easily manipulatable that they're going to fall for everything the mainstream media says, I would say that you don't need friends like that. You need to find friends who are not like that. And then, if you're sitting there and you find yourself lonely, that's because the kind of men who resist slave programming don't look at you and find you valuable. And once again, whose fault is that? That is completely and utterly your fault. It's amazing how much control and autonomy you have over your own life as a man. That's the most beautiful thing about it. I was talking to a girl the other day, and she was absolutely and utterly gorgeous. And she said that, yeah, being a girl's easy. I love being a girl. And I said, I would hate an easy life. I think being a beautiful girl is easy. But to me, that sounds torturous. I can't imagine anything more mind-numbing and boring than being a super hot chick. Not to disrespect them. I'm just saying that I am so addicted and so accustomed to constant struggle and war that the idea of living without it is almost daunting to me because I don't see the point in being alive. What are you doing then? Waking up, were you just smiling all day? Eating Happy Meals? Doing your makeup? Is that it? Where's the struggle? And this is from a man who's literally just got out of jail and is looking at a bunch more jail he doesn't deserve, which is a struggle, both physical and mental.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here going, yeah, my life has always been a struggle. It's all I've ever known. I can't imagine it being any other way. And I'm still not trying to change it. I'm not trying to retire and vanish and disappear and just live easy. It's not something I'm even interested in. It doesn't even cross my mind. Once you adopt that mindset, how can you not be successful? I have to train because if I don't, I feel too guilty to sleep. I feel dirty. I feel terrible inside if I don't train. Once you get that mindset, how can you lack motivation? Motivation's free and unlimited. It's discipline and purpose is more important.
I believe that's when you whooped it. When you can get to the point where it bothers you not to train, that's really, really when you really have started to make progress towards doing it. You trained 2 days ago saying openly, I feel like shit.
Yep.
Your hands were busted up from sparring. And it even made me feel so bad that I came and then fucking Amir's kicking me in the leg and he's like hitting a wall. It was horrible. I was going to throw up on him. Seriously.
Yep.
He was stepping on my foot and punching me in the solar plate. It was trash. It was fucking trash.
Yep.
And just before that, I had Tig come in for a whole week and he made me box for 6 hours a day.
Yep.
6 hours. They flew him across the country and it's just all day long. And I told Tig this, it was the best week I had all year. And there was more pain in that week than I'd had all year.
Yeah, the best times in your life come at the end of something horrible. That's the truth of manhood. That's
Like
how
right
it's
now,
always been.
being free of jail with our friends around us, drinking whiskey, talking to our guys on Rumble. Like this is an enjoyable experience. You have no idea. You have no idea. This is not a job to me anymore. Never was, but after what I've been through, this is amazing. This is kind of bridging on what you guys say. I can chime in a little bit. Tips, I'm 21. Tips to find a high-value, beautiful girl, blah, blah, blah. I'm 21. I need a high-value, beautiful girl.
No, you don't.
Are high-value, beautiful girls hitting you up? No? Then you've done something wrong. Or no, not even you haven't done something wrong. You haven't done anything. You haven't done anything wrong. Yeah. But you haven't done anything. As a man, you have to build yourself up. And when you build yourself up to a certain level, you can find the girl who you want. The girl with the low body count who's beautiful and smart and wants to marry and wants to have kids. You can find her. But the fact that you can't find her at 21 means you got 3 years of work to do. And maybe you could find her at 24. This is exactly what Andrew says. Do women want to be around you? Do men want to be around you? Do friends want to be around you? Do people want to be around you? The fact that you think you have to go out and search for these people is a bad attitude.
I'm completely against chasing women in general, but particularly in your 20s. You should be just giving your 20s up to everything you can do to be better. And then women are just going to see that and jump in front of you.
I did waste a lot of time in my 20s chasing women, but I also put a lot of work in. Yeah. I put a lot of work in.
But I would almost argue that those women came to you. They saw you and they're like, yeah, that guy. Because they saw you training, they saw you getting better.
I will confirm one thing to the world, and that is there are truly, as much as we complain about society, there are truly unlimited good women out there.
Yep.
Unlimited.
Anyone who's complaining saying women are trash, they are just they are showing their own inadequacy.
Yep.
Because women are a reflection of men. They're a fantastic mirror. A woman will be fantastic for a fantastic man, and she'll be terrible to a terrible man.
Yep.
And
Same woman.
say, same woman. The same woman can be a different person for the man she's with. And I can sit here and say that when you truly have your stuff in order, the amount of good-hearted women out there is nearly unlimited. If you're suffering to find a good woman who truly cares about you and is going to be loyal to you and take care of you and respect you, then that is your problem and your fault. Because if you were anyone else, let's say you were me, you would have thousands begging And this is the reality. They have a choice. So I don't know who you are. I don't know what you look like, but I guarantee if a picture of you were to appear on the screen right now, it would all be very obvious as to why you can't find no pussy. I'd look at you and go, okay, because you're a geek. No, but that's the truth. I'd look at you and think, well, you're a geek. I'd either think you're a geek or I think I could definitely rip your throat out. So whose fault is that? That's your problem.
Yeah.
I should look at you and be like, maybe that would be difficult. Maybe I wouldn't be able to rip his throat out.
And the thing about being a man is this. When you have good friends, at least when you have honest friends, they should be able to tell you that. If you're sitting around a bunch of geeks being like, oh, women are bad, blah, blah, if you're a man, you can tell your friends, you need to work on this, you need to work on that. So, Andrew, women don't like you because you're a geek.
You're right, Tristan. I accept that. You're right. Next, all dissidents will be crushed, right? So dissidents will be crushed, and I don't think the world's going to get any easier. I don't want to get too political, but unfortunately now, just being any kind of man which is remotely masculine is an act of defiance against the system, because when you're a man who's masculine, you have boundaries and you say no to things, and they don't want men who say no to anything. So what happened to me, nobody was interested, and now it's happening to other people who are slightly less controversial, and now they seem to panic and don't understand why. There's a very famous saying of a man during Nazi Germany. I think he said, what did he say?
First they came for the
disabled?
Yeah, and I said nothing because I was not disabled. Then it's next they came for the trade unionists. I didn't say nothing because I wasn't a trade unionist. Then they came for the Masons. I didn't say anything because I wasn't a Mason. Then they came for the Jews. I didn't say anything because I was a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak up.
And that's how it works, right? So there has to be a degree of resistance in you. And also, anti-fragility is going to always come from your network. I mean, look at what they put me and Tristan through. It's the biggest matrix attack which possibly exists, their biggest bullet. And
here we still are.
We're surviving because of our network and because of our friends and because of who we know. I could never work a day for the rest of my life. I know that the two men beside me would pay for me. I wouldn't starve for the rest of my human life.
Me and my kids would have food.
And that's a very comforting thought. But the only way you get that kind of comfort is for the man who's providing for you to know you'd also do the same back. Life's reciprocal.
Can I say something? It would burn my soul to think that I couldn't afford to take care of y'all's kids.
Yeah.
Like I would feel like I had failed, not even being ready for it as it came.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. Any more super testing?
Oh, yeah, there's a few. Hunting and shooting animals. What's your opinion? I'm just going to throw this one out here because I got a cowboy in the building. And Tig probably hunts and shoots a few animals and damn self. So hunting and shooting animals, is it wrong? It's a tradition from my country, but people look down on me for it.
I had a whole conversation with somebody today about this.
With my mother, I think.
Yeah, with your mom. I was sitting there out there talking to your mom. And I say, all these people, all these PETA people, they get all mad and stuff like that. But if mass production of food went away, they would be begging you, please, please, go kill something so we can eat.
Yeah.
These fucking cowards talking about eating bugs and shit like that. I'm a big believer. One thing I said to Andrew yesterday is that I'm now at a place financially, I'm going to start hunting again. Not only because I have the time and the money to do it, because hey, you don't know where the world's going, and if you want real grass-fed, I can whoop Whole Foods ass with a deer.
Yeah.
So newsflash for you, if it's brown, it's down.
Could you explain to me what that means? Because there's a lot of people who won't understand exactly what that means.
Yeah, so me and Tristan are having a conversation about 2 years ago, and he's like, Justin, when you go deer hunting, do you kill deer with these big racks and stuff like you see on the thing? I said, buddy, let me tell you something. Where we went hunting, there were no deer with big racks. If it walked out, it meant meat, which meant food. So if it's brown, it's down.
And then I made a joke about you saying, yeah, you probably shot and ate squirrels too. And you're like, yeah, I love squirrels.
I love squirrels.
Squirrels
and gravy.
You see why I wouldn't like the South? Girls in cowboy boots instead of high heels. No. Give me high heels any day of the week.
Yeehaw.
You can take me on a trip to the South.
So good, love. Killing it.
Aiden Ross could not sit on this table. Andrew admitted he's your friend. Imagine that dork sitting with you four. What do you have to say from Captain Lalando?
Well, I feel like I have responsibility to try my best to bring out the best in Aiden. But everything I'm encouraging him to do are the things I was talking about earlier in the stream about struggle and work hard and train. He's a very fortunate young man who's made a lot of money early, which is great, but that can also destroy you. Money's an amplifier.
It's a handicap.
Yeah, it's a handicap because money's an amplifier. Money won't change who you are, it'll only amplify who you are. I'm not top G or whatever. I'm not the man because I'm rich. I'm the man because I was the man when I was poor, and then I became rich. If you're a dork and you get rich, you're just a very rich dork. It makes you a lot worse. So I feel like, especially a lot of you out there, a lot of you are desperate to make money. Money can be the worst thing that happened to a lot of men because it's going to amplify who you are. And if who you are isn't fantastic and impressive, you just become a target. You become a robbery target. You become a target for gold diggers. You just become a target overall. So if you manage to come into a lot of money quickly, you should panic and think, I'm not worthy of this money. I'm not man enough to be this rich. You need to become strong fast. You need to go through some hardship quickly. You need to go through some stuff.
Can I actually jump on one term you said, gold digger? Because I actually don't like the term gold digger. You wouldn't become a target for a gold digger. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a gold digger in the way that if you're a woman, you want a rich, successful man. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So I don't look down on women like that. What you become a target for are female hustlers. We're talking girls who have boyfriends who are broke, thinking I'm going to take this young man's
monkey
money.
branch.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing. Female hustlers, I'd say.
But
Gold
this
diggers,
also-
I don't like the term.
This is also a good time to dispel something that a lot of people believe is that money is the reason you can get women. I had plenty of women when I had no money.
Yep.
Because I was already like that dude.
Yep.
You know, and so for all you guys out there that think you don't have women because you're not rich, don't let that handicap you from doing the work you should do in all the other categories.
Because not all my friends are rich.
No.
And I got a name drop. I have friends who are in great shape, smart, working hard, younger than me, doing well, and women love them.
Yep.
Women love them. They're not millionaire status or multi-millionaire status. Women love them. Why? Because they're go-getters.
The only
They're out
thing,
there, they
the only
inspire.
like, because it's exciting, but
Yeah.
you can easily do without that if you tick a lot of other boxes. So yeah, the idea that you need to have money to get girls, I wouldn't say is true. I would say that the way the world's changed, especially, it's certainly a statement. And that all ties back into the things we were saying earlier today. It's easy to be respected by other men if you're not a coward. I don't think any man respects a coward at the end of the day. I mean, I'll tell you right now, to this day, there are people I don't speak to and will not speak to again because of how they reacted to the COVID vaccine garbage. I will not speak to you. You are a coward. When push comes to shove, I know you're a bitch, so I won't talk to you.
Because push comes to shove at random times.
Push comes to shove is life.
Yeah. And it's come to shove lots of times with me and you. And have I ever been a coward?
Never.
Never.
That's not who we are. All this, I strongly recommend you do not get off your ass. I strongly recommend you do not listen to your brother. I think you should stay a loser, because for there to be winners, there must be losers, and people like me need people like you to clean our cars and give us our burgers and to laugh at when we're sitting around with our very important friends. So please stay doing exactly what you're doing, because the lower echelon of man will always be required for my satisfaction. In fact,
And his brother's Kevin. And your brother Kevin's going to be a winner too.
your brother Kevin and I will be somewhere important, and we can talk about how much of a fuck up you are. So enjoy.
That was good. That was very good.
Thank you.
Didn't see that coming.
No, but it's true, and that's actually a very important point. You can't have winners without losers. You can't have light without dark. When people sit and say to me, "Oh, I struggle with motivation, and I struggle to work hard, Andrew, and I want to be strong and rich," I just sit there and think, "I'm glad you're a fuck up. I'm not that interested in fixing you, because if you're not interested in fixing yourself, why would I care? Stay a loser, stay an idiot, so I can laugh at you. There's nothing better than me being able to say, ha ha ha, I have shit he doesn't have." Everything is relative in life. The only reason people want Ferraris is not to drive fast. It's because most people can't afford Ferraris. If Ferraris were everywhere, nobody would want them. So when I see a guy who goes, "Oh, I struggle to work hard and I'm a loser," I say, good. We need the loser class. People like you need to exist so people like me can feel important and be your superior. Because as a man, what's the point in waking up if you don't feel better than everybody around you? I don't know how these people wake up and just feel like Joe Schmo. How? Let me ask you guys on this panel a question. This is a genuine question. How do you have a girlfriend and not be an insecure piece of shit if you're a normal dude?
Well,
No, I want genuine answers to this question. You're a normal guy. You don't try that hard, and you have a girlfriend, and you know that there's men like us out there. How do you exist without constant paranoia?
Well,
Let me hear it.
I'm going to try to put myself in their mindset for a minute, because my answer is obviously speaking as me. And speaking as me, I would say that if you're a normal dude, a normal dude could take your girls. You have to understand everyone is the competition out there. I know that there's very few competitors in the world out there. Most of them are sitting at this table would never even touch my girl or look at my girl. But I'm going to share a story. About a year and a half ago, I hadn't trained for 3 or 4 months because I'd ripped my bicep off while boxing. Tig was there. Oh, Tig, did I not finish the next 3 rounds?
Absolutely, you
And
did.
when we were drinking later that night, when my arm had fallen off, and you challenged me to do 10 push-ups, did I not do the 10 push-ups?
Whew, yes, you did.
Okay,
Yes, you
so,
did.
but I didn't train for months. I had the bicep surgery, wait a month, had the shoulder surgery. I was in the worst shape of my life. Even me, I was the top 1% of the top 1% income-wise. I'm still 6'4". I'm still smart, charming, funny, intellectual. I looked in the mirror while I was making love to my girlfriend, I'll be perfectly honest. I'll tell some personal details here. And I was looking because the wardrobes are all mirrored, and I thought, Jesus, I look terrible. I need to get back into shape. I need to put in some better work here. And I, even being myself, thought, and by the way, I wasn't like obese, by the way. I thought I need to level up. So I genuinely, Andrew, and this is going to sound like a cop-out, I cannot understand being in, because most men are in worse shape than I was after that surgery, on average. They're poor, less intelligent, less charming, less funny, have less to offer, boring lifestyle, etc. I don't understand how you can have a girl and think, oh, well, she's definitely got to be happy with me. You know, people will call us misogynists, and they'll say that we have a negative view of women. I have a very positive view of women, and I think women deserve the world. I really do. If you're a high-value woman and you're beautiful and you're kind and you're loving and you're caring and you're all of the things that a man wants, you deserve the world. I'm not saying I deserve you. You need to get with a guy like me. But the boyfriend that you're with needs to at least be trying. There's a message to all the women out there. The boyfriend that you have, the man that you're dating, the man that you're sleeping with in bed, needs to at least be trying to be the best version of himself for you. Now, you can call me misogynistic if you want, but I think that's a very true fact. So, Justin, you're an average man. What do you do?
How do you have a girlfriend without being insecure?
I don't think it's possible. I genuinely don't. I think those are the guys that will put bullshit like, oh, I sent flowers, or oh, I committed, or oh, I didn't sleep around, or I didn't do. They cope and hope that guilt or something like that's going to get her, man. But if I were a guy that was average, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night, bro.
Tell me about it.
I could not sleep at night.
So, so question 2, how do you sleep at night, Justin?
Not knowing what we know, and maybe there's a huge degree of arrogance to it. Maybe if you're a normal dude, you're right. You say, well, I did all the right things, and and all those other guys out there like the Tates and Justin and Tig, they're all
of shit.
They're arrogant. I'm not arrogant, so I'll be okay. Some delusional weird self view where they feel like being nice is enough. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's not, because nice isn't competence, and competence is what's respected in the brutal realities of the world, especially by women. And they look for the competent men. And if you're an average man out there, you have two choices. Either you're going to be stupid and dumb, and you're going to believe that she's going to stay with you forever, and you're going to end up getting wrecked and heartbroken on a level that most men never have to suffer and be genuinely suicidal. Or you're going to be constantly anxious and paranoid, understanding the brutal reality that if your girl runs into any of us in the mall, it's over.
Yeah. And
now, do you want to live that life?
No, and you have to take responsibility for it, because I've seen this happen. I've seen girls come to me, and then they'll get messages from their ex-boyfriend. Oh, he's a piece of shit. How could you do this? And she's like, smiley face, because she knows everything I do, even though he could never get away with it. And instead of taking responsibility himself, he tries to call me a bad person.
Yep.
And that's the biggest mistake you can make. If you're an average guy and you lose your girl, the best thing you could possibly do is blame it on yourself, and understand that if you don't change and if you don't level up and become that dude, you will lose your next girl to the same type of guy.
Absolutely right. Any more, Tig?
No, I guess Tig has to answer that question next.
Yes.
You're an average dude.
Here's an average guy. What's the question? If you're an average guy, how do you have a girlfriend without being brutally paranoid?
First of all, effort is attractive regardless of if you're male or female. So if you are not putting forward any sort of effort at all, I don't know how she finds you attractive to begin with.
Sure.
Second of all, you're in this comfort zone right now. You're comfortable. Oh, things are okay. She loves me for who I am, blah, blah, blah. That's going to...
I want to be an Islamic scholar, but I think that...
You're not.
I'm not. I'm not going to try and be either. And I'm not going to try and convince anybody to adopt the religion that I've adopted. I'm not here to convince the world to do anything. However, I think discipline's always a fantastic thing. And if you find a framework which instills discipline inside of you and instills gratefulness inside of you, I think that's a good thing. I think most people can agree that being disciplined and being grateful is going to benefit your life.
Damn right.
So we can say that alone is enough for me to be very happy with my reversion. As for drinking, it's interesting. I decided to quit drinking before I actually reverted to Islam.
That is true.
I decided to quit drinking before that, and I'm not entirely sure why. I'm self-analyzing as to why I woke up one day and said I'm going to stop. I don't know what it is. But I'm not saying I'm never going to drink again. I don't know. We're going to see what happens. But life is ever-changing, and it's the most adaptable that survives. And perhaps one day, for my health and safety with these crazy people around, I might need a gin and tonic. So we're going to see what happens. But it's been a long time without a drink. So
and I think that, and I'm going to chime in a little bit on your reversion and your religious attitude right now. Every time you do any kind of podcast, they'll name one thing you do. Like, for the fact there's Johnny Walker on this podcast. You're not drinking it. But I want to say to all the Muslims out there in the world, look, since getting out of jail, I've read 4 books about Islam. There's great scholars who I stay in contact, like Faris, of course, who's a good friend of ours, who tries to help and coach you in your journey, tries to help and coach me in my knowledge. I don't think that if you are a Muslim, watching every podcast Andrew does and attacking him for haram things like his friend Justin Waller drinking whiskey next to him is a good thing to do.
That's a pre-workout.
Because you have to understand, for me, and here's my thoughts, and if there are any scholars in the chat, please correct me. I have seen personally how hard Andrew has worked. I have seen he will sit and we'll have discussions about his faith. He's learning new things every single day. He's reading, and I haven't seen you pick up a book in a very long time. So he's reading. You gave up alcohol. You gave up a lot of things that people consider haram. And as your brother, it upsets me. So I'm going to tell all you Muslim trolls, because that's what you are, trolls, to go fuck yourselves. Quite clearly, because what you're doing is, it's like a man trying to learn your language. If I started learning Russian tomorrow, Tig would be like, no, you made this grammatical error. You made this mistake. You spelt this wrong. You're learning, but, do this correctly because you are trying to be a Russian speaker. He wouldn't say, ha ha ha, you're a fucking idiot. You're not a real Russian speaker. Leave Andrew alone because I see how hard he's trying as his brother. So let's just leave the Islam question. What? A girl. I pay all the bills. I hustle and clean all day. No sleep. I cook and clean. I'm trying to get him to go to the gym and train with me. How do I make him believe he's capable of great things? My answer would be he isn't, but Andrew. Yeah. Actually, Tig, we haven't heard enough from you.
Leave his ass. That'll wake him up pretty quickly. Straight up, you want to believe in the best in people, but when they talk about the concept of tough love, they don't realize that it's not tough on that person. It's tough on you because you have to make that hard choice. And honestly speaking, maybe you should just give him a wake-up call like that.
Yeah, I agree with Tig. You should leave him. I'll give Andrew some credit here. A lot of men have men's groups, right? And I've heard it said that they're trying to mold men that are made out of clay when Andrew just picks granite and carves it. And so if you're not going to push a rope or make him become something he's not. And I feel like I've wasted a lot of time in my life, particularly with employees, trying to turn them into something they're not when I could have just found somebody that was made out of granite in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. And the interesting thing is the answer that both Tig and Justin gave, that you should just leave him. Even if you don't realize you're going to do that yet, you probably are.
Yep. You're
going to do it naturally. As a girl, if you're training and you're being more dedicated than your man, more disciplined than your man, you're going to look better than your man. You're going to become out of your man's league. You're going to be getting hit on constantly. You're going to end up leaving him. And if he is too stupid to know that, or smart enough to know that, but too lazy to do anything about it, then he doesn't deserve you. So you're already going to do the right thing on a long enough time frame. No matter how much you may love him and want to drag him up, etc. I tell you something, women get bored of that game very quickly. They get bored of it. And
you sound bored already. You're watching us for.
Literally. Like imagine any of us four asked you out on a date to talk. We just want to talk. Come talk to us.
Coffee.
Let's just have coffee. How long would you be with the guy? It'd be over.
Dumb.
So it's a matter of time until you leave him anyway. And it's kind of interesting. I've had some girls say some really interesting things to me. I had a girl say to me once, with my ex, I was trying to always get him to be a better person. I was trying to motivate him to work hard, trying to make sure that he trained and didn't play too many video games, etc. But you know what I like about being with you? And I was like, what? She goes, when I'm with you, I can just turn my brain off. I was like, what does that mean? She goes, things just happen. I don't know how we get places. I don't know how it's paid for. I don't know where we are. I don't know why you got a different car outside. You drove here in a Ferrari.
Human trafficker.
We drove here in a Ferrari. We went to sleep and woke up
in this dungeon.
Yeah, but go. Continue. That's a good point.
Go. We drove here in a Ferrari. We went to sleep, woke up. There's a Lamborghini outside. I don't know how a private jet is booked. I don't know how much a yacht costs. I don't know where. I get to just turn my brain off and go on an adventure. I don't have to think. I just have to be. And I think you get the best out of a woman when she's not thinking, when she's simply being. The feminine frame is often just being. This is when they laugh and smile at butterflies and they're constantly happy and they're always a positive energy in your life and they don't have to worry or think. A woman who has to constantly worry and think about her man, eventually when she meets a man who doesn't give her that kind of stress, she's going to love the idea of being with a man and not having to worry about it.